Sydney Sweeney stars in a new horror film titled Immaculate. Is it any good? Let's find out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. As I said in the intro, I'm going to be reviewing Immaculate today, the newest horror film. We've been on a little bit of a dry spell with horror, so hopefully that this one does live up to the hype. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like on this video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd. I'm active on all those. I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis of the movie, just so you know what it is about. An American nun embarks on a new journey where she joins a remote convent in an Italian countryside. However, her warm welcome quickly turns into a living nightmare when she discovers her new home harbors a sinister secret and unspeakable horrors. This film is from the studio Neon, which is known for a lot of interesting, interesting movies. I will say they're mostly known for horror, but they do also other movies like Anatomy of a Fall from last year. They also had The Royal Hotel. But when I went into this, I saw a lot of new trailers for new horror movies that I didn't even know existed. Of course, I saw a trailer for the first Omen. I think that movie is going to be terrible, but we'll see how that goes. But for the two Neon movies trailers that I saw a trailer for Longlegs, which stars Nicolas Cage, but they didn't show him. That looks like an very interesting one. I don't know what the hell is happening in that trailer. And then for Cuckoo, which stars Hunter Schafer, that was a new trailer that I've never seen before, and that one looks really good. It looks like it has some really strong potential. So I think Neon is gonna have, it's either they're gonna have an interesting year. It's either gonna be a great year if all their horror movies succeed and are great, or they're gonna have a very bad year if they're not great. But Cuckoo looks like it has potential, and I will say Immaculate. On just the first initial thoughts, is the best horror movie of the year, but is that hard to do? No, but I mean, I have to say it because horror this year has been pretty weak. I haven't seen Late Night with the Devil, but there's been just so much controversy around that. I'm not really gonna go rush out to go see that. Probably not gonna review that. But Immaculate is pretty divisive also, because I've been checking Letterboxd, Rotten Tomatoes, all that. I think it's holding a strong Rotten Tomatoes score. I think in the 70s or 60s, but its Letterboxd score, it's pretty divisive. A lot of people I'm following aren't really liking that much. Some people think it's great. I'm kind of in the camp where I think it's good. I think it's the low good for me, because if it would have, there's some parts that hit really hard for a horror movie, then there's some parts that don't really hit at all. And this is a movie about like nuns and all that, sisters and all that. And can I just say, why are we getting like 5 nun movies a year? Like I swear there must be a mandate. Like every studio has to make a movie about a nun every single year that's a horror movie. I don't know what's going on there. I guess that's where you make your money about horror movies about nuns. But I swear to God, I see like 3 horror movies about nuns every year. I don't understand what's going on here, but if that's what we're gonna do, I guess I'm still giving them money. I guess I'm still seeing it, and seeing Sydney Sweeney as a nun was fun. I guess that's my one answer here. And Sydney Sweeney, she's kind of owning it right now. Except for Madam Web, we're not going to really talk about that because she was pretty good on her Saturday Night Live. When was she on Saturday Night Live? That was like a month ago, almost a month ago. I think she was pretty good on that. Anyone But You, we all know she was great in that. She's gonna start filming Euphoria again. Who knows how that's gonna go? But she was great in the first 2 seasons, and I think she gave a really great performance here. A lot of people say that she's not the greatest actor. I mean, I think that she gave a really good performance. I'm not going to say it's really great, because the first half, her performance wasn't that great, but that second half, the last 30 minutes, I thought her performance was just terrific. And she did say she's been wanting to make this film for like a couple years now, and she finally gets to make it, so good for her. She finally gets to do her big passion project, and she's now kind of a scream queen. She's in a horror movie, and she has one big moment at the end where I'm like, yeah, she's a certified scream queen after that, after those big screams that she has after that. And I will say this movie is kind of the 3-act structure here is interesting because it doesn't work at all, because the first 2 acts are very slow and filled with lots of predictable jump scares. But the positive I can say about the first 2 acts, it does build an interesting mystery about what is going on here, what is Sydney Sweeney's character's place here, and what is her character going to go through in those last 30 minutes. That's what's kind of building up for the epic finale. And I will say, the jump scares are predictable, because once you've seen enough horror movies, you gotta understand, you just understand what's gonna happen. You're like, oh, watch out behind you, and then boom, behind her, jump scare. It's like you gotta get better jump scares if you're gonna do jump scares in your movie, or just build it with more tension. That's all I gotta say on that part. But the third act is where this movie really does shine. If this movie started out like it does in the third act, then this movie would have been like an 8 or 9 out of 10 kind of movie. But it didn't, which sucks. But the third act is where the real fun and horror begins here. There is some really strong imagery in that third act that I had to cover my eyes with, because even though I do love horror movies, I'm kind of a wuss with a lot of them, and with a lot of, blood and just guts and all that. I'm not the greatest with all that, so I did have to cover my eyes just a little bit. But it is cool to see, it go pretty far in that third act. And the last 15 minutes of this film kind of left me in shock because of what Sydney Sweeney's character is doing in the final moments. And the final moments and the final shot here is like the biggest what the fuck kind of moment. Especially that final shot. Like what she's doing in that final shot, I don't want to give any spoilers. What she's doing there, I'm like, wow, that kind of made me a little bit nauseous because I couldn't imagine doing any of that. And that is just an interesting way to end the movie, because I don't know how a lot of people are going to feel about that, but it had to be done. Let's just say that it had to be done. But damn, that third act hit hard. I mean, if you don't like the movie, that's fine, but you gotta agree that that third act went really hard on the horror aspects. Because I thought that after those first two acts, I thought that it was just gonna be like, it's just another nun horror movie that didn't really land anything, just some predictable jump scares, nothing really that big or scary in here. But that third act surprised me. So lots of scary moments that caught me in shock. Sydney Sweeney, she became a badass in those last 30 minutes. That's when I started really enjoying it. The first two acts, I thought it was just fine. I thought it was just really average, really mid. But that for the last act, it really brought it together for me. So what I'll say on the pace, I mean, it's only an hour and 40, I think. It's paced okay, because I wouldn't say that the first two acts are like dragging like a lot. I mean, it is slow, but you can kind of expect that for a movie like this. But then it does pick up. It really does pick up in those last 30 minutes. So you're not going to feel like you're in the theater for 2 hours. It does feel like an hour and a half. So overall, Immaculate is the best horror movie of the year. Was it hard to do that? No. But was the last 30 minutes of this movie shockingly fun and shockingly good? Yeah, it was. Sydney Sweeney gave a great performance in those last 20 minutes. I was like, I need a whole movie like this from her. That was really good. And I miss all this. I miss a great horror. I miss a really good horror movie, because we haven't had one in a long time. So I'm not going to give this too high of a score, because I don't want to be like recency bias. But Immaculate, I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10 because of those last 30 minutes. I was like, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? That final shot is going to be kind of legendary for anyone who goes and see this. I'd give it a shot if you're a big fan of horror. If you like Sydney Sweeney, I'd give it a shot, because I think it's worth it to get to those last moments, because it's like, what the hell just happened there? It's crazy. But let me know down in the comments, did you guys watch Immaculate? If you did, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think of the movie? If you did enjoy my review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, helps it a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.